guys, and welcome to episode 001 of the Relentless Life podcast, The Pursuit of Having It All. I'm Destiny.
I'm Zach.
And we are married. We have 4 kids. We live here in Clovis, New Mexico, and we own the Dog Pound CrossFit. And we just believe that we can have it all. We can build a life that has it all, and we don't have to sacrifice any of our core values. And this is kind of just the journey, and we're excited to take you with us. So this episode is going to be a little deep. It's going to be going into our marriage and kind of where we were at about 2 months ago. And we were at this really dark, struggling place in our marriage that felt hopeless. And I think today you would agree that we've really made a 180. And that's not to say that we're perfect and everything changed overnight. But we just both kind of came to this place where we started to see each other for who we were, and I think everything started to change. So we want to kind of talk to you about that and everything we've implemented that is literally changing our lives. So before we get started, we want to talk about our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by K-Bob Steakhouse. It is on Mabry here in Clovis, New Mexico, and it's probably one of our favorite date night places. We sing there often as well, and we just really love it because they can accommodate our diet. So when we're on our macros, like when we were doing 75 Hard, we went there and we were able to order off the menu stuff that was healthy, and we didn't have to worry about like cheating on our diets. So I really like that.
Yeah, and they get their meat from a local butcher too, so you know what you're getting.
Yeah. Foot Family Meats. Check them out as well. Okay, so I guess we'll just kind of start, and I'll let you start. The breaking point, like how did we get to this place in our marriage that was just felt so hopeless? Like, and from your perspective, like what led up to it, and like how did it feel?
So it felt like we were just on a merry-go-round of I do something that irritates you, you get mad, I get mad at you for getting mad, and it's just an endless loop of making up and fighting again, and didn't really feel like we were ever going to get out of it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think we were stuck. I think if you know me and you're watching this, you might laugh. I'm a very strong personality, and I think in my past relationships, I have always had to be a little bit masculine, and I came into our relationship very like I was a lot more feminine in the beginning of our relationship. He really made me feel safe, and I was able to like just kind of be a stay-at-home mom and not have to work hard and hustle, and he gave me like the space to do that. So in the beginning, I was, for the first time I think in my life, a lot more like feminine. I mean I'm a feminine woman, but I also am like take charge. I want to be in control. I want to work. I want to hustle. I want to, like I've just kind of been raised that way. So at some point in our relationship, I started to feel like like my old self was coming back, and I just got into this role where I was like, okay, fine, you're not going to lead me, I'm going to lead the family. And I think you got very intimidated to lead at that point because I was constantly like taking charge and then getting mad at you anytime you did try to make a decision. Yeah. And we weren't really like, I wasn't submitting to him, and he wasn't being loving towards me. And so like it was just, like he said, a constant merry-go-round. Yeah.
Cycle, resentment.
Like it was literally the crazy cycle. We felt like, I mean, I can't tell you how many crazy fights we had. I'll just be so real with you guys. We had a fight on the way to church. I don't even remember. This is just like 3 or 4 months ago. But we had a fight on the way to church, and I don't even remember what it was about. Our kids were in the car, and we were so mad at each other that we couldn't go in and take the kids in because we felt like it was too awkward after we were just screaming at each other. And my our 12-year-old son literally was like, "Bro, be adults. Take us in there." And I was like,
Yeah, that hurt.
"Yikes. Like this is getting really bad that our kid is having to tell us to like grow up."
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was, I wouldn't say, I'm sure, like, if we were to, like, go back, like, you would look at it and be like, okay, you guys were really fighting over this stuff. But I think it was just, like, a total communication breakdown.
It
Like,
wasn't even. It wasn't even the issue at hand every day. It was just so much built up.
yeah. And I think you didn't really understand where my heart was at or where I was coming from, and you took everything as an attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took it as, like, defamation of my character, which hurt so bad. And it was just like this constant back and forth.
Yeah.
You have anything else to say about that?
No, let's move on.
Okay. Enough about the mess. Let's talk about the message. Okay, so the turning point. I think, do you want to talk about for you what was like the biggest turning point? And we can kind of like go into LGN and how like that all came about too, if you want.
So you mean the latest one, like coming back?
Yeah,
Right.
that was like the turning point.
Yeah.
For us.
Okay. So we went to Scottsdale to see Andy Elliott and David Goggins, and we got to talk to Andy Elliott a little bit. But during some of his speeches, he brought up multiple times over the weekend about chase the man, not the money, and build the person you need to be, and the rest will work itself out. And that kind of really sunk in. And on the drive back with the guys, I was sitting there take my notes on my phone, like, this is the guy I'm gonna be. This is the new Zach. Every day I'm gonna wake up and kill off the old Zach. And step one on that was come home and talk to Destiny and tell her that I'm gonna try my best not to do all the things that I've always done, but I need her to try her best not to bring up the way I would act in the past, because I'm not going to act like that anymore.
I'm so sorry about this moth. It's like moth season in New Mexico. I don't know what's going on, but they're attracted to the lights. So when we came back from Arizona, I was very excited. I wasn't quite sure where his mind was at because we had a little fallout in front of our friends actually in Arizona. Not my like favorite moment. And I think I was like going into Arizona with a very protective mindset because part of me was like, if this doesn't work, I don't know if we can make it. Like, I really don't know if our marriage is gonna make it. And so I wouldn't even say I was hopeful. I had like this distant hope, but I didn't allow myself to be like extremely hopeful because I was scared to be let down. And so when we got home, Zach just straight up told me, like he said, and he said it with such assertiveness. It was like, okay, like I want to be led. I'm just a really strong person, so unfortunately, like, if I don't feel like you're as assertive as I am, it's going to be really hard for me to submit to you. And I think as soon as he said that, it was like, okay, I can submit to that. Like, I can follow you. And so I think that was like a really important moment for us. And I've done my best to like not bring up any of his old stuff. I mean, it's hard because I want to be like, you always, or you never, or, I want to say those things. And I think I've caught myself a couple times, but I've done my best to respect that because he's not withholding. He is upholding his side of that promise. And so it's been really important for me. I have to move on. Like, we have a certain responsibility if we're going to stay in a situation and we're going to forgive somebody to move past that. And so I think that's been something big for me that I've had to continue to show up for every day. It's just like, I'm not bringing up the past. I'm living in the now. We're going to deal with these situations head on as they come. And so I want to talk about a couple things that we've been implementing and just have been pivotal in and just accelerated our growth in our marriage so quickly. So like mentorship is something that we've never really had before, like intentional mentorship. And it's really changing our lives, I feel like.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference to be able to be vulnerable and just lay all of your garbage out in front of somebody, and they're like, "Oh, it's not that bad."
Yeah, literally. No,
Yeah.
it's so serious. And we've chosen a few people in our lives that we really look up to in different aspects. So we have a marriage coach that we go and see. We saw her last year, and it helped us, but we didn't continue. So it was kind of like, and she does my Bible study, so she's a personal mentor of mine as well. And then we found a couple. We actually went to Arizona with them and got to know them a little bit, and we were just so attracted to them. They're a little older than us, and just have kind of been through any problem that we have. I feel like they've been through it times 10, and they're just in this beautiful season of life, and it's so attractive to us. And so we found people that we wanted to emulate, we wanted to be like, and I feel like it's been such a game changer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
So some things that they've taught us. You want to talk about like our morning routine?
Yeah. So, for last 2 weeks now,
I think it's been about 2 weeks.
we've been waking up just 15 minutes earlier than we have to, and usually Destiny will read a chapter of the Bible, and we'll talk about it afterwards. Anything that jumped out or anything, and then I'll pray for us. I'll pray over our day, pray over our workout. Usually we go work out before anything else, and then we kind of talk to each other for a few minutes about the day and anything that we can do for each other to help throughout the day, and then we're off.
Yeah, and it's so quick and easy, and
It only takes 15 minutes.
yeah, 15 minutes
And
at
it
most, really.
changes the rest of the day.
And I feel like we're getting closer with God in that way, because I mean, we've always, like, I think one of our first dates was at church, like maybe the third date or something.
Yeah, and that was the first time I had been to church in probably 10 years.
Yeah, so I mean, we've always had God in our marriage and in our life, but I think we didn't really know how to grow closer with Him until we moved here. I feel like Clovis
Yeah.
has been,
Oklahoma was a start at Life Church, and but coming to Legacy and like all the great people that we met through that, we just kind of got real connected.
yeah, I would so agree with that. So I guess next we're going to talk about some stuff that we have still been struggling with and that we're working through, and kind of how we're combating that. What would be some stuff?
So all that being said, before, not slipping back into my old ways is it's always there. It may not always be there after a while, I don't know, but right now it's still there. You have to fight the urge to respond how you always have. And some days I do well with that, and other days I fail at that, but
I agree with that. It's so hard. Like, I think yesterday my parents were in town, and they took our kids. Our kids are going to go part of the summer to Washington, or they're on their way there. And I found myself just being so overstimulated and grumpy and being rude to everybody, and there was no reason for it, and it was like actually it was actually really rude of me, and I could tell you all the excuses of why I was acting that way, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't fair to my parents, my kids, my husband, and So I mean, like, it's still a struggle every day. And I think about, and I really like started to understand what Andy Elliott was telling David Goggins during the conference that we went to, where he, for the first like 2 years of his transformation, he had to like keep David Goggins on like 24/7 because he was so scared his mind was gonna slip back into his old ways. And at first I was like, I don't like, that's kind of weird. Like, why would you have that on for like however long? And I realized, like, actually in the last couple of days, I'm like, actually I get that. Like, you have to constantly be feeding your mind the right stuff, or
It's
your mind is
rewiring.
gonna go right back.
It's those neural pathways. You got to rewire it.
Yeah, it's just like Winning the War in Your Mind by
Mm.
Craig Groeschel. That's a really good book if you haven't read it.
Yes, it is.
So it's mental ruts, basically.
Yeah, it's connections. If this happens, I do this, but you got to change that pathway in your brain. If this happens, I'm going to do this now. And it doesn't change easily.
Yeah. So we're actually going to start phase 1 at 75 hard. We just did 75 hard. We finished right before we went to Arizona. And we're going to start phase 1 on Monday. And I always find 75 hard really nice because I feel like I can really just hone in on everything. But I typically will have some kind of podcast, some kind of audiobook, and I'm reading some kind of nonfiction book as well. And I just find myself like in this like information, like what's the word? Just being like an information sponge. And I feel like I'm always so dialed in because of that. Like, I'm not filling my mind with like trash. And
Yeah.
low key, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I was watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and that might be trash, but it's okay. We all have guilty pleasures. He doesn't like that stuff, but so I guess we can kind of like move on and just encourage you, if you're struggling in your marriage, to maybe implement some of these things that we've implemented. Another thing, actually, I kind of forgot to touch on. At the Andy Elliott event, something that struck a chord with me so deeply was, like, take your family with you.
Yeah.
And so that was something when we got back, and we'll go more into that if we're talking like a parenting episode. But that struck me so deeply and convicted me because our kids a lot of the time want to be a part of what we're doing, and I get so overwhelmed and stimulated. I kind of like, no, like, just go play, go do this. And I realized how much of a disservice for our family and for their lives I was.
Yeah.
And so I just, when we got back, we really got, like, sold our kids on our vision for our life. And I think just having that shared mission, not just between us, but between the kids, I really feel like this closeness that I don't think I've ever really felt as a family.
Yeah. Raiden decided that he's gonna get a muscle up in the next month. Not the next month because he just left, but he wants to get one this year. He said.
And yeah, and this kid is just, I don't even know where he gets it from. He's so like, he's very skinny. He's always been super skinny, but he has like, he's not just skinny. He has muscle. Like, he'll be super jacked as soon as he starts eating enough protein, I swear.
Yeah.
You know, he's starting to go through puberty. But he's always been a little hard to, like, communicate with. He's very, like, stubborn. And
He wants to know it all. He doesn't want to hear it.
yeah, he doesn't want to hear it from us. He wants to, no, I know how to do it. I watched it on YouTube. This and that. And so something that has just been really touching to me is how receptive he's been. Because we tried to get him to work out with Zach. I mean, given it was pretty early, we were making him get up at 5 a.m.
Oh,
but
yeah, last
he
year.
would cry. He would literally break down and cry and just be like, I don't want to do this. My body hurts. And just like, it was so dramatic. And so we stopped doing that. And now it's like he's excited. he doesn't complain. He gets stressed. He goes and he's like, oh, I've been working on my pull-ups. Like, something that really made me happy was when he was like, hey, is it okay if I do like regular pull-ups? I'm really working on them instead of scaling them. And so I was like, I thought that was so cool. And then he was working on his muscle up. And I'm just like so proud of him. And I just realized, like, you take your family with you and you sell them on the vision that you have for your life. Like, kids want to be a part of that.
Oh, yeah.
And I just feel so sad that I didn't involve them for so long.
Yeah.
So I think that just kind of leads to like a word of encouragement. We want to encourage you guys to, if you're going through a really tough time in your marriage, just stick with it. Find some mentors, find people that you look up to, and just ask them, like, hey, can we go to dinner? Because that's what we did. We literally were like, dude, we love your guys' marriage and the way and the parents that you are. Can we please like be around you more? Because we want to be more like you. And they were like, of course, yes, like, come over. So just reach out to people that you feel inspired by. Another big mentor of ours, she does my Bible study, and any way that I can be around her, I am. And same thing with Andy Elliott. Like, now that we've gone to one of his events, yeah, I couldn't think of the word. We just want to be around him and around his team as much as possible. And we have Alec there too. He's so awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we want to be around those people as much as we can because we want, and we have the Limitless Growth Network, which is a team that we're involved in here. And we have calls 3 days a week, and we have a Tuesday night pump session that we have at our gym. And we just want to be around those people as much as possible because everybody has this mindset that they want to grow and they want to change. And the more you're around people like that, you either get booted out, not because they kick you out, but just because naturally you just don't want to change.
You can't keep up.
Yeah. Or you grow with them.
Yeah.
So I just encourage you to find your people, find a group that inspires you, find mentors, start reading the Word. Because I think
that's huge.
Yeah.
And I know it's really hard with time because I've always been a listener too, but there's something different about being in the Word, reading it with your eyeballs, not just listening to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And a lot of it, I think, it's funny because we both grew up in church, but we don't like really understand the Bible.
Oh, 2023. I listened to the Bible in a year on the YouVersion app. So I listened to the whole Bible over the course of the year, and I don't remember hardly. I remember the stories that I already knew.
I know, that's the weird part. I'm like, I grew up in church. I remember all these Bible stories. I remember Sunday school. I remember sermons, like.
And I've
but
read.
Somehow I'm finding myself like, wait.
You know what's crazy is I've read. I've probably read the whole book of Proverbs at least 5 times in my life, and there's new things that jump out every time. Like, that was not in there before.
And I think it's because your brain can only retain so much
That
information.
might be. Or you're just in a different season of life where it jumps out more.
Did I tell you? So this is also confusing. I need to talk to Sherry about this. Sherry, if you're listening, text me because, so Joseph, Jesus' earthly father, was of David's lineage, but so was Mary.
King David?
Yes, but so was Mary.
Okay.
So I don't really know. I don't know how that went, but I guess maybe it was normal to be a little in the family back then.
I mean, Adam and Eve started it.
Yeah. Kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you only have 2 people, how do you populate the earth, dude? That's crazy. But on that note,
and cut.
we want to and I've already said this, but we want to inspire you to implement some of this in your own marriage and see how everything in your life changes. Also, we'd like to encourage you to like, comment, share, subscribe. It depends on obviously what platform you're listening or watching on, but please share this with your friends, like it, and I promise this is our first one, so it might be a little awkward, but we're going to get better and better, I promise. And our next episode, I think we're going to be talking about going a little bit more into parenting and kind of our struggles with that and how things have changed with that, being homeschooling parents, but also busy business owners, and just kind of how we juggle it all and what we're doing good at and what we want to be better at. And the last thing we want to leave you with every episode is a Bible verse that pertains to what we were talking about. And we found this one, Mark 10, verse 9. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. And I think this one's important because the devil hates marriage. The enemy wants to break you up. So if you want to kind of show the devil up, work on your marriage.
Absolutely.
So we hope to see you guys next time.